Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of SVT. I'm Sam. I'm with Vince and Tyler. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey there.
So, we're going to be mowing through our topics right now. We're going to start with NFL scores. Vince, take it over.
All right. On Thursday night, Cincinnati beat Miami 27-15. We'll talk more about that game in a second. New Orleans in England fall to Minnesota 28-25. That game was wild. Another wild game. Seattle outlasted Detroit 48-45. Love that for fantasy football if you got any piece of that game. Atlanta over Cleveland 23-20. Dallas beat Washington 25-10. The New York Giants beat the Chicago Bears 20-12. Tennessee beat Indianapolis 24-17. New York Jets beat Pittsburgh 24-20, and the rookie Pickett stepped in on that game. It looks like the end of the Trubisky era there. Buffalo beat Baltimore 23-20. The Chargers beat Houston 34-24. Arizona outlasted Carolina 26-16. Green Bay beat New England in overtime 27-24. And Kansas City beat Tampa 41-31 in the nightcap. And now we turn to our teams. Sam, your boys got the win.
Finally!
32-23 over Denver. How are you feeling, my man?
Feels good to finally be in the winners column. Yeah, 1-3. I think we were watching the game. They had like a 14% chance of making the playoffs since 1990. So yeah, not too excited with the playoff chances, but you beat a division rival. Maybe this is something that moves you forward and you can, string some wins together. But it's one of those things, right? They could easily be 0-4 or they could easily be 4-0. I think they lost by a touchdown or less in all of their losses or something of that nature. So they were in it, they were in all of their games. Very happy that they closed out. The defense showed up, got a pick six. So,
Josh Jacobs had a day too.
He had a day.
I was just gonna say he rushed for not 212 yards. A total offense for that team was 212 yards. Jacobs went 144 with 2 touchdowns. So really turn the table there for him. He's been abysmal the last 3 weeks and just turned it around here, it seems like.
Yeah, the team just looked a lot better overall. There was a lot of talk coming out of the Raiders and people affiliated with Josh McDaniels just saying how difficult it is to pick up his terminology, and the line is not on the same page with the skill position. So there's different stuff being called and audibles being called, and not everybody's on the same page. I don't know how true that is. But hopefully moving forward, it's, these situations are something of the past. They've on certain drives look explosive, and then there's certain games and certain drives where they look terrible. Hence that 0-3 start. So hopefully there's brighter days ahead. It'd be really good for this franchise to get back on track. It's been a long time since the Raiders have been good for a extended period of time. And I think it's healthy for the NFL to have teams that develop into winning cultures. And of course, there's always that step back because you're rebuilding. But you want to see teams come forward and step up. So hopefully this is, something for the future.
All right. And Tyler, your boys, Philadelphia, beat Jacksonville 29-21. Your team is 4-0. You're sitting on cloud 9. How's it going up there?
Man, we're the last a little bit. We're the last undefeated team. One of the more interesting things that I heard today was that the NFC East has the best division win totals out of every single team in every single division in the NFL. The NFC East, the laughing stock in the last 7 years, has the best win record out of everyone, outside of the Commanders that we've been all taking turns beating the shit out of them. So that's been fun. No, it was actually one of the greater games that I've got to witness. It really looked like Jacksonville had our number there in the first quarter, going up 14-0, pick six, and then they get another touchdown there. But then the kid Lawrence, man, I mean, he's looking promising this week, but then he caused 5 turnovers, the only turnovers in that whole entire game. One of them was a pick. Everything turned on itself. I mean, Jacksonville's been kind of stout with their running backs that they've had as of late, but then you turn around this game, it's 210 rushing yards to 71 rushing yards. And Sanders had a career game at 134 yards. So, and one of the telling stats too was that Jacksonville coming into this game, believe it or not, was the number one in NFL in run defense. So you couldn't tell by watching the game. So it was great to watch. Hurts stepped up when he needed to, took that big hit to kind of get the motivation going for the team. And here we are, 4-0. I love it. And I love my chances against Arizona too.
Yeah, Arizona looks like dog shit right now. So especially on offense, they got they're supposed to be fast tempo, but they have the most timeouts to stop a delay of game penalty. I heard that earlier today. So that's that's a team that they don't know what the hell they're doing. So that'll be fun for you next week. The 49ers are playing Monday Night Football as we speak. I will be starting that game a little bit later than everybody else, but I'll catch up by halftime, fast forward through commercials. So we don't get to talk about the Niners today, really. Just hope they win, and looking for some good performances, especially out of Kittle now that he's got a game under his belt. So
yeah. So let's jump backwards to Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And talk about the big drama of that game with Tua getting hurt and how he was handled from the week before to where we're at now. So Vince, why don't you reset kind of what happened there?
All right. So in week 3, Tua Tagovailoa got hit, and he had whiplash as he was coming down, and his head just backed the grass real hard, and it looked like a concussion. He his teammates helped him up, and he had a pretty significant wobble as he was trying to run back. They went and did the test on him in the back in the blue tent or whatever, and they led him back onto the field. Okay. So at that point we're thinking, okay, I don't know what that wobble was, but they must have ruled out a concussion because they wouldn't have let him back on there. Except it turns out the doctor that did it fucked up, and he actually was concussed, and that doctor was fired, the independent doctor that was testing. So that guy's not judging concussions anymore. So Thursday night comes, he gets hit again, and he's it's really bad. If you want to see the video, the video is out there on Twitter, on TikTok, on all of the social media apps. You can see, but he does, I forget what it's called. It's
it's called posturing.
Yeah. So he it was bad, and you could see he was really, really hit hard, and it just was heinous. And I'm at a loss for words almost, because I can't believe that he was cleared to go back out there after the third game, and then 3 days later he found himself in a situation where he got himself hurt even worse, and now he's definitely going to be out for game 5. And I would imagine this is probably, we're looking at 3 or 4 weeks probably. I would think, because you have to take your time now with this one. You have to be especially deliberate, because if there's any sign at all, then you're talking about his life. This is not a game anymore. This is life or death. If he gets hit on the head again, who knows? I think about in what was it, Varsity Blues, the center that kept getting his head hit, and then they made fun of that in Not Another Teen Movie, where it said concussions left for Billy Bob or whatever, and it just kept tallying down. It's you get 2 more concussions, you'll die. And it's kind of gross to think about, but that's really something that scares me for him now.
Yeah, I was watching a video on it, and it looked like there's a loophole in the NFL's ruling about how concussions are deemed. And the loophole being is that if the team and a I guess doctor in this case can validate that the injury was not a concussion related thing, but more of a bodily injury, which is why they came out and said it was a back thing, that he could avoid the concussion protocol for the following week, which is what happened here. Obviously, we know that that was not right in by the doctor's case, but that's the loophole that came into it. That's what allowed him to be back. And I agree that the Dolphins should not have let him in week 5 for next week. But if he did pass concussion protocol, he could play against the Jets this week. But you're talking about getting your team obliterated by fans if he were to play this week. But he could technically play week 6 if he passes concussion protocol. Technically.
I mean, this is the injury that ended Steve Young's career.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just concussion after concussion for Steve Young. And Steve Young, Troy Aikman, these are guys that are in the Hall of Fame, but their careers were cut short a little bit because of multiple concussions. So this is something that I take very seriously. It's, you know, it's one of the many reasons why I stopped playing football in high school was because of like the head injuries. I was, you know, I'm like, why am I going to bust my ass and get my head hurt or, you know, get injured in other ways when I can just do theater and, you know, make friends that way. It's a lot safer, a lot safer. So that, and I wasn't very good, but that's beside the point.
Well, you know, knowing that you're probably not going to go to a Division I pro, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That really helped.
Right to question it.
Yeah. Help make the decision for me a little bit, but still, I mean, I was legit running around in circles with the rest of the team. And then just in the middle of us running around in circles on the field, I just left the circle and I ran straight to the locker room and got out of my football stuff. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And put on my regular clothes and went back to the theater and did a play.
Jumping back on track with this Tua thing. I think this might be one of the last times we see him on the field, honestly, because I don't think these are injuries that are going to go away for him. He's already had injury concerns coming into this season. This was a big time prove it year. That was a lot of talk that, you know, the Dolphins were trying to get rid of him. And when McDaniel came over, it was, you know, we're going to win with Tua. So we know that whole situation has been really messy with Miami and Tua. And I really think that, you know, once you start getting concussions like this, and this guy basically got 2 in a week, they're not going to go away. These issues are going to become more and more common for him, I believe, on top of the other injuries. And I saw an article the other day that was a former player was basically saying Tua should probably just retire right now, because it's not going to be worth it in 5 years, 10 years with the head trauma and quality of life, things of all that nature. So I really wouldn't be surprised if this is, you know, maybe the final season or second to last season that we really get to see him take the football field, because name what franchise would want to inherit this going forward? You know, why would you? One, you're not going to, from a business point, you're not going to be able to rely on him to stay healthy, because now these injury concerns and concussion concerns are going to be there. So you're probably not going to get a full season out of him. But more importantly, on a human level, like you said, Vince, it's like life and death. It's quality of life. You know, I don't think a team is really going to touch him, you know, if these injuries keep coming up.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I don't know if there anything else we need to add on this. I mean, a lot of other people have talked in depth about this, and
yeah,
I don't know that we can add any more. Just that this is a bad situation and it's super scary, and I hope that he's okay. And
yeah, absolutely.
If whatever ends up,
it's a violent sport, but we hope, you know, you don't want to see these guys get hurt.
Yeah. Whatever happens, I fully support whatever decision Tua makes going forward, because this is it's more than just it's his life now at this point. So
absolutely.
Sure.
All righty. Any last thoughts on NFL news before we move forward?
No, I'm ready to talk some potential playoffs, and I for baseball, I'd love to get in a little bit of a discussion here with Vince if he's available and viable.
All right, let's talk.
There's a good chance that you and I, our new teams, could see each other for the first time in the playoffs in a wild card scenario.
It's lining up right now in the wild card. The San Diego would go to the Mets, so you'd come to my house, bud. It's that's how it's lining up right now. Philadelphia currently holds the 6th seed. They're the final wild card. They'll go to St. Louis, and then San Diego at the New York Mets, and the Dodgers and the Braves are the top 2 seeds. The Braves could technically lose out, and the Mets could win out, and that's how that could possibly flip. But Atlanta's playing at Miami, and
Miami's abysmal.
Yeah, Miami's terrible, so I don't really see that happening. Although the Mets have Washington coming to them. So, I mean, I could see the Mets holding up their end of it, but I think Atlanta's probably going to take 2 out of 3, and then that'll be the end of that. As for the final wild card spot in the NL, the Phillies hold a 2-game lead over Milwaukee. Philly is playing at Houston, and Milwaukee is hosting Arizona to end the season. And that's a 2-game difference, and they both have 3 to go. So it's not over yet, Milwaukee fans. But I mean, the clock is at 11:59, but it ain't struck midnight yet. So
yeah, I mean, I want to see. I love that it's our new teams get to meet each other for our first time getting into this, and now we get to potentially play against each other. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to that. I hope that happens. I really do. I did want to point something out before we jump into more of the scores here. I found out like 5 minutes before this podcast that the A's have 0 guaranteed contracts for next season. Everyone's under arbitration or a free agent. I don't think I've ever seen that in a sports franchise ever in my life, to have 0 guaranteed contracts going into the following season.
Okay, we said we were going to make this a quick podcast, but now we're
it's time you just want to come in here and ruin everybody's quick podcast over here, Tyler.
I know. What the shit, man? Now we're going to rage about John fucking Fisher again. I had to say the name.
Just blame YouTube. I literally was cramming down some sushi before this show, and then I said, "Hold up, 0 guaranteed contracts. Hold up, let's come back here."
Yeah, it's disgusting. How the fuck a professional top flight baseball team, any sport really, how do you not have a single guaranteed contract for the following season? Not one. It's a team of 26 people, plus you have all your minor leaguers. What the shit are you thinking, you sons of bitches? Fuck you, John Fisher. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Fuck you.
So everyone's under arbitration.
I'm not going to follow it because my heart doesn't need that right now.
Yeah. Okay. I do want to touch real quick on we talked the National League side of the playoff bracket. On the American League side, the Astros and the Yankees are going to be your top 2 seeds. Tampa is going to be at Cleveland. Seattle is going to be at Toronto. I just want to give a tip of the cap to Baltimore because they guaranteed themselves a winning season. They got 82 wins right now. So
sweet.
Good for them. And
even Seattle, I'll tip my cap to them too.
Well, yes. I mean, Seattle, they clinched on Saturday, I believe. It was Friday, and they clinched it with a walk-off homer. So
against the A's.
So that was a little bit of a of pain in the heart. But
the pitcher who gave it up is not guaranteed to come back anyway. So.
Exactly. And you know what? I mean, their playoff drought was old enough to order a beer in a bar. So, I mean, you're due. At some point, you're due. The longest playoff drought is over. Congratulations to the Mariners.
I think they're like one of 3 teams that have won 100+ games and didn't make the playoffs.
No. They made the playoffs when they did that. They just didn't.
No, they.
What year are you talking?
The Seattle, I think one is like early 2000s. They won like 100 games and didn't make the playoffs.
Go ahead.
I believe that the Yankees were hot. The A's, I don't think the A's were in it. I want to say it was the Angels were hot at that time. And I'm fully confident that the Mariners won 100+ games and did not make the playoffs. I will prove it.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm Googling this too. I'm not seeing that. I mean, I see the 2001 Seattle Mariners. They they had 116 wins, but they didn't make it to the World Series. So I mean, you gotta go. If you want to talk about like teams with 100 wins that don't make the playoffs, you got to go back to like the 50s and 60s, because back then only 2 teams made the playoffs, and everybody else just sat at home and twiddled their thumbs.
Yeah, get your facts.
I'm not seeing 100 wins, no playoffs. I don't know that. You'll have to search for that more, because I question you, sir. I question you.
Well, give me the Giant score while I look this up.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So the Giants, over the last week, they went 5-1. They swept Colorado 3 games, and then they took 2 out of 3 against Arizona at home to close out their home schedule. And they finish off the schedule with 3 games at San Diego. So, and the Giants currently 1 game above 500, 80-79. We said last week that was going to be their goal, to get above 500 for the season. If they take 2 out of 3 in San Diego, there it is. There's your, that's your over 500. And then they avoid that asterisk, winning 100 games and going below 500 the next year. So that's kind of what they're looking at doing. The A's last week, they went exact opposite. They went 1-5. They lost all 3 games at the Angels, and then lost 2 out of 3 against Seattle. It was very nice of the A's to let them clinch in dramatic fashion, and then we were able to get a win on Sunday. Woo! The A's have already guaranteed 100 losses this year. It's the worst A's team that I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
So
Terrible.
it's just been it's been a schoolyard bully of a year to watch. That being said, we've said, everybody has said, the only wins we care about this season were on Howard Terminal, and we'll see how that shakes out. There's stuff happening. We'll get more into it next week. I think when with baseball done, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
You're right. I apologize. They won 116 games, but they were out in the ALCS against the Yankees. So I knew
That
the
is
Yankees were
correct.
in the mix in somewhere. I was mistaken. Also, I did look up. There was a lot of teams that have won 100 plus games and did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're all like in
a
this.
lot.
Yeah, they're all back in like old times, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no wild cards.
yeah, exactly. Before the wild card.
It was before the division stuff. It was all the
Mhm.
AL, NL pennant.
Yep, exactly.
When it was 4 teams.
That's right.
It's the playoffs. You got 4.
You got your top 2 teams in the American League, top 2 in the National League.
Yep.
They play, winners play. We're done. Yeah.
This is when the league had like 6 different teams with the word Sox in it.
Yeah.
Do you ever see like some of the like original World Series and stuff? It was like this team won, 11 out of 13 games. It's like, why is this series so long?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, you get pitchers who pitch like 20 innings and hold records. Like, how are you doing that? I don't understand. Guys pitching like 15 innings, 16 innings.
Yeah, they didn't care. All right, any more baseball? Or are we good?
I think
we'll
good.
have more. We'll have more on the Howard Terminal next week, because there's still a lot of information coming out that we got to go through. So we'll have a big episode on Howard Terminal shortly. Hockey news. You guys wanted to talk about some Sharks opening up in Prague, Czech Republic.
Yep. The final team has been, set. They sent Ryan Merkley down to the Barracuda. They're not taking him to the Czech Republic, which is a little bit of a bummer. He's, somebody that that anytime I see him play, he looks pretty good. But he'll make a mistake because he's young, and then he'll get benched for the rest of the game. But a veteran like Brent Burns makes a mistake, you just keep him in, which was infuriating.
Too soon. Too soon.
It was a little too
too soon to say that name.
The old coaching staff was a little rough on Ryan Merkley and some of the other rooks. So look forward to the change with Quinn. So
what are your predictions like in the West? I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs this year.
No, I don't.
Especially when you get rid of Burns and God, it hurts.
Yeah, I don't see the Sharks making the playoffs this year. I think, like if everything breaks their way, they might be able to sneak in as the 8th seed. But that, like, when I say that, I'm talking about like how the Giants won 107 games last year. Like they need that kind of level of all the good breaks going their way to get to the playoffs this year for the Sharks, because they just don't have the talent top to bottom of the roster. They can't afford the inevitable Erik Karlsson injury. You know, the injury's coming. I don't know where, I don't know when, and I don't know what will be injured. But at some point, he's going to get injured. He's going to miss some games, and the Sharks will go from right around that final playoff spot, and they'll just like when he goes down, they'll fall like 6 places, and they'll be near the bottom, and that'll be the end of the year.
All I ask for is just have a better record than the Kraken, and I'll call it a win.
Yeah. But there's they unleashed their new mascot.
He looks horrible.
Yeah,
what a
Bowie.
piece of shit that is.
Yeah, I mean, when
Jesus, he looks like a furry on crack.
The last mascot that we revealed that we got before this was Gritty, you know, and Gritty is a fucking legend, like immediately almost. And Gritty's been there's just this wild bastard, and I'm not inspired by Bowie. I'm not by Gritty.
I'm gonna take this mascot as a segue for me here. Did you know that the Denver Nuggets pays their mascot $360,000 a year?
No. I thought it was 630,000. I thought it was. Yeah,
I'm flip-flopping it
backward. Yeah, you're flip-flopping.
Yeah. Where the most mascots get paid like 60,000 a year.
Yeah, the average mascot gets 60K, and he gets 10 times that.
Why is that? I will be a mascot tomorrow.
How did this break?
I don't know the reason why he even gets paid that much. It was just a lull day in NBA, and they were like, "Hey, have this information to have today on Bleacher Report." And I was like, and they don't give you any rhyme or reason as to why he's paid that much. There's no rhyme or reason. He's just that's what.
I mean, good for him. He must be a great negotiator.
Yeah, get your money. But did you like cure cancer with that? I mean,
yeah. I
mean.
I will sign up to be a mascot tomorrow if that's what that's the going rate for paying.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down to be a mascot right now on the regular pay. Are you kidding me? That's close to what I make right now as it is, and then I get to go watch a basketball game 41 times plus like whatever other fun little shit in the neighborhood. You know, open up courts and stuff. I'll do that shit. You know.
Well, speaking of the clown show that is the NBA and paying people, there's another clown show going on the East Coast that I wanted to give you guys some information on Ime Udoka. Sorry, apologize. With the Boston Celtics here. Okay. So for the 7 listeners that we have, I want to go out on a limb and say what I'm going to tell you is not factual. It's not a proven factual thing by the team, a lawyer, or the NBA front office. This is information coming from a source within the team's, staff or front office. So, okay. So, what I heard today,
the tea, man.
What I heard today was that Udoka and Nia Long, who was his, girlfriend, fiance, whatnot,
ex-fiance, yeah.
At this point, yeah. They were in an open relationship, and that he is a serial offender with ladies wherever he coached. In Boston, he slept with the team staffer. Okay. That team staffer handled, like we said last week, team accommodations and bookings. That team staffer is married, and her husband caught them. That her husband went to the team and they signed paperwork saying that it was consensual and that it shouldn't, that it should have been it. Like that should have been it. Should have been done. Later, it comes out that Udoka was being inappropriate to her after they hooked up and before they hooked up. So he was just continually trying to do this, even though the team said, knock it off, stop, right? They kept doing it, right? And then it got to a point where Udoka slept with a Celtics minority owner's wife. That became too much for the team. And if it wasn't mid-season, they would have fired him. But because it's off-season, the team suggested to spend more time to investigate to see what else he did. Udoka won't resign because he doesn't want to miss out on the payday that he'll likely never coach in the NBA again. But many were surprised he got a head coaching gig because of his past behaviors. So no one was assaulted and no one was pregnant, but the dude was just wilding on the job.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Break that down.
I
That's
don't
just
want to.
really. I mean, what do
Wow.
you say, right? Like
Yeah.
he's probably not going to coach in professional sports.
I don't even know if
Probably
he'll get in
probably
the
not even
kids.
college,
Yeah.
and
It'll
definitely not
take.
high school.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking. He's going to be on a couple years break. He's already got a 1 year break. But yeah, I mean, this is obviously not good. But in the world of scandals, if like, I mean, I look at the Robert Sarver thing, and that's in my mind, that's obviously way worse. And that guy needs to go away for fucking ever. And that's appears to be what's happening now. But I look at Ime's situation, and yeah, he's fucking the wrong people, literally.
Literally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his problem, and
He was
that
thinking
could
with the wrong
cost him.
head.
That could cost him too, and that's unfortunate because he was an up and coming coach, and I mean,
Oh, he was coming, all right.
Boston.
He was
God
up
damn.
and coming.
He was
Giggity.
up and coming.
Yeah,
Some
awesome.
say he was a little bit too up.
Yeah, that too about the Suns. The Suns just did a preseason game against the Adelaide 36ers, a
Where-
Australian basketball team that has no NBA experience, and they lost by 20 points. The Suns lost by 20 points.
Oh,
Did they play any of their NBA
They played all their
players?
starters. They played all of them. They're every single one of them. Even Damian Lee was out there, and they lost to a Australian team that's not even that has no one has NBA experience. Not a single
But
one of them.
Adelaide 36ers.
wow.
So I'm surprised Aiton's still there. Honestly, I would expect.
Well,
if
he
it's
signed
that-
elsewhere, and then they matched it because they
I
had
know.
his rights.
I
But
know.
he had some interesting comments last week where he was just kind of like, I'm gonna be a professional. We don't got to be friends." Kinda-
like Russ said, everyone has a job to do. Some people just don't like you at your job.
Yeah.
Also, too, Russ has there's been talks about the Pacers and him again. It's like a revolving door or broken record here. So he has removed every post off of Instagram, apparently. So a lot of people think that might lead to another Pacers thing, but Jesus, just tell me when it's done at this point.
Yeah.
the
Yeah, amen.
Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors that he might get traded to the Pacers.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Damn.
Again,
The
this
Pacers
is
have
like
been
the
making
fourth
some
time.
stupid moves,
Yeah, I mean they gave
that-
up their player to Boston, and I don't know why they did that. That's one of their best players. So
Yeah.
I'm
Couldn't
not
tell you.
going to spoil anything with this. I got the 49er Ram Monday Night Football game, and this really bothers me. Is
Troy
they
Aikman.
always show San Francisco skyline,
Oh, yeah.
and then jump to the stadium. It's nowhere near it, guys.
50 miles away. Yeah.
Come on,
Show
Yeah.
us downtown San Jose,
exactly
That'd be better.
Yeah.
Just-
I mean,
Exactly.
Hell, at this
You-
point, show me Stanford's campus.
yeah. You know what? Honestly, what I would like them to do is literally show every show us San Francisco, sure. Show us San Jose. Show us Oakland. Show us fucking every major downtown city you have. Go ahead and just show us stuff like that. Show us the entire Bay Area, because if you're faithful to the Bay, which is the hashtag FTTB, show us the whole fucking Bay at this point.
There you go.
Because that's what you're claiming. You're claiming the San Francisco Bay
right.
as your region now that a certain football team is no longer here. Show it all. Fuck it. Lay claim on Oakland now. You might as well.
Absolutely.
They're not here to do it. So
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
All right. Extra points. Vince, did you want to
Whoa,
tackle this today?
Whoa. Tyler's
You
not
gonna
done.
you gonna skip you gonna skip our Bay Area boys? You gonna skip the Warriors real quick and their Japan preseason here?
No.
And Wiseman going off. Wiseman going off for 24 in 24 minutes, did 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. And then the second game went off again and also shot some 3-pointers on there. I am officially back on the James Wiseman bus. I'm super excited. I can't wait for the season to start. And I will eat all my words if James Wiseman becomes a flop, because I still believe in him, even though he makes me nervous.
Well, I mean, betting on a big man it's a gamble. whether if he stays healthy, he has all the tools to do it. So here we are. This might be it. This might be the time.
And also Patrick Baldwin Jr., our one of our draft picks that was like a sleeper pick. He looks excellent too. So he's not going to get a lot of play time. He's going to be up and down, but he looks really great. And then in the last bit of news here for the Warriors, they have released Mac McClung, who was like the Lakers prodigy and the Bulls prodigy, and he's gone. So that's all I had for the Warriors. I just say Wiseman looks great. I'm super excited. I think the next game is like 3 days from now or something like that. So super excited.
Yeah, just stay healthy.
Stay
healthy. All right, now we're moving on to extra points.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Shea Salinas, the San Jose Earthquakes midfielder who is retiring at the end of this year. He scored the game-winning goal in his last home game in San Jose. He played 17 years. I think 15 of them were in San Jose. So San Jose legend. Congrats on a great career, and have fun in the retirement, bud. So start with that. And then also just real quick on the gambling props in California. I do want to point out that neither of them are perfect. I mean, 26 is going to be where you're basically allowed to gamble on sports betting only at Indian casinos and at 4 different racetracks, horse racing tracks. So that's really, restrictive and confining. So that's why Major League Baseball has jumped on Prop 27, which allows for online gambling, like through DraftKings, MGM Grand, and whatever the hell else. That being said, I looked recently at polling, and Prop 27 is not looking good, man. Like they're every time I look, it's mid-30s. Yes. So I would not count on Prop 27 passing. I haven't seen any polling for Prop 26. I think both of them are just not perfect, and I wish there was some sort of combination of the two. Where if 27 gave a lot more money to the tribes, I'd be a lot more happy with that. Give the tribes and then more money for all the stuff that it claims it'll do. So they're talking about 10% or whatever. If it was 25 or 30% for homeless initiatives and then another 10 or 20% to the tribes, and at that point, that's when I'm like, yeah, absolutely, I'm on board with 27. But that's not what it does. And then 26 is just way too restrictive in my opinion. But I don't even know if either of them will pass this time. So they may have to go back to the drawing board and work together and write one proposition that works for more of the tribes and the companies and all of it together. So
yeah,
that's
I
sort of where
I highly doubt that's going to happen, but I do agree that it's more likely that these are probably both not going to pass at this point.
Yeah. So that's just my, my quick, high level take on the propositions, what's happening there with that. Anything else you guys want to discuss?
I'm good, man. Guess next week we'll catch up on the 49ers on the Monday night and rest of the NFL.
Howard Terminal.
And we'll do some Howard Terminal stuff.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay, so you can find us online on Twitter and Instagram at SVT Sports Pod. And you can send us emails at svtsportspod@gmail.com. And we're on YouTube, so you can watch the videos. Please slide into our DMs. And we look forward to interacting with you. So until next time, later, guys.
Later, guys.